just gone on the sideline, so we're not sure which team is going to be starting on offense or defense, but the game will be starting shortly. I'm pretty sure we can get it all figured out.
So there is now a little bit of a breeze. We had a very still morning. Then the second game, there was a little bit of gust, still a bit of breezing. And now it does look like it could be settling into a more upwind, downwind situation. Though I think as I'm saying that, it's literally starting to die. So it might be gusty, it might not be. But it is beautiful, clear skies and very warm here.
Yeah, the sun is indeed shining.
And we're here in Bologna. Sorry, we had our intro. Technical difficulties, apologies for starting a bit late, but you have not missed a second. The teams are yet to start playing. So you're hearing the voice of Ali Thomas and also T Mombo. We are bringing you coverage all weekend along with Steph Rapazzo and a couple of other guest commentators from teams. We'll have some of them jumping in as well to bring their own insight. So as you were saying, T, about the background of these teams this season.
Yeah, so we have YAKA in red, the current reigning European champions, and we have 3 SBs in a lovely teal/turquoisey blue coming out of the Czech Republic. Got some very high level players in there, so not one to be overlooked despite a disparity in team sizes. 3 SB with quite a low number today, and YAKA with quite a full roster, with a lot of new players turnover from their team last season, so trying to integrate on that, but we shall see if that has an impact on the game, maybe later on, maybe 3 SB tired legs. But perhaps also YAKA's new connections maybe not integrating that well compared to the chemistry that 3SB would have built over years. So really it can go either way, and I'm very excited for this one.
Definitely when you have a smaller roster, you do have the advantage of more chemistry, but then, as you say, the disadvantage of having fewer legs, especially it is very warm now. And I know if anyone is watching from Australia, I think there are a couple of Aussies tuning in earlier. It's obviously not super warm for you guys, but it's I'd say early 20s here. And we have YAKA starting on defense. Big pull from Kaja Knudsen. And we've got 3 SB coming out in a horizontally set up to Dvorakova. Oh gosh, almost a collision, but contact avoidance. You can see the disc sitting in the wind, and that is going to go long. And unfortunately, we're seeing the impact of that wind. The disc kind of went up, bobbled, and then came down just slightly too far out in front. So
yes, I think 3SB trying to come out and test the deep game, the deep defense of YAKA was quite a good look, and it just wasn't quite effective. We'll see what YAKA's D-line offense comes out with. 3SB looking like they've set up some type of match with some poach deep, and some poachers in the lane as well.
So YAKA working it horizontally across the pitch. It's possibly even looking like a bit of a cup zone here, trying to keep YAKA in the end zone. They've got it up to Knudsen, little pop, and then upfield. Dumping it back. Ooh, fakes the round. Doesn't fancy it, takes the open pass instead.
Yep, this 3SB zone working quite well effectively at slowing them down. And even when there has been progressive passes just like that, it once again comes to a standstill and having to work in tight spaces, and it looks like a foul just occurred.
Yeah, I think maybe just a tap on the hand as Thyssen there, who's a German import, I believe, coaching the under-24 women's team in Heidelberg. So these very sharp, aggressive fakes. But thrown directly into a 3SB player who looks to move it immediately. Got Toshnarova on the disc. Oh, thinks about the round. Looking up into the end zone. Not a lot of options, not a lot of movement. Pops one through to the front to Sarah Toshnarova. Standing, looking.
And that is a goal to start the game. It is a hold. It wasn't the prettiest having to play that defense, but that zone was really effective at generating that turnover, and second time's the charm. When you're playing at this level, you don't need to tell the teams twice to get that point. So we are off and running with a hold, and let's see how YAKA's offense can retaliate.
Yes, that was Teresa Mrazova with the goal. Lots of patience, I think, from the 3SBs shown so far, and some pretty fiery defense from both teams. In YAKA's first game against Bristol, what they said was really good to see was their fiery defense, which were able to generate a lot of turns. So we may not have, especially with the wind picking up, potentially the cleanest game of Ultimate, but we will be seeing a lot of fire and a lot of determination from the people on the pitch.
And the pool goes up, so now we are in the second point of the game. 3SB on defense, YAKA on offense. YAKA look like they're coming out with a 3-4.
We had Mondio, oh wow, keeping a disc alive and then throwing one quite far out in front of Paula Baz, who goes to ground to keep it in play. Back to Mondio.
Yeah, 3SB here looking like they're coming out with that same zone from the last point to work it. Let's see how the YAKA O-line deals with it, as Mondio throws a sweeping pass just behind the force and keeps the disc moving.
Yeah, Mondio really giving her teammates some chances for glory here. And they are very much up to the task as they're sticking in formation. Another beautiful throw across the field to Becca. Oh, but that's just going to bounce out of the hands of Castillo. And we will see what this 3SB D line has to offer us as they look to set up in a 3-4 of their own. So
yes, Mondia has thrown that sweeping pass twice across. I think she might be figuring out some gaps within this 3SB zone and maybe look to see 3SB making some adjustments to that. But now this is the 3SB D-line offense as a lefty backhand goes up the line, power position, strike, huck, goal!
Oh,
and it's
no!
just spoken too soon. It is dropped, but perhaps a call to see if there's a resolution of some sort.
I think Volkova, it looked like she might have, no, there is no call. It was just a bit of a case of butterfingers. Sometimes when you do a clap catch and your hands are not directly on top of each other, you can sort of bobble the disc out of your hand. So YAKA with the whole of the rest of the field to work up again. Mondio gets it up to the sideline. Baz looking for Mondio, finds her with a little pass. Mondio maybe looking for another expansive shot across the field. Oh, very low, kept alive, and swung all the way over to the other side. Castillo hangs on to this one. Up to Le Bon.
Yeah, and the wind is picking up now from the start of the game, getting a bit blustery and swirly all over the place. See how the teams adapt and approach that.
Oh, Labas to Baz. He thinks about the deep shot. I think was a little bit gutted that she didn't get to throw it. And then we've got Delaval across to the other side. See, it's not just Mondio, it's everyone able to do these expansive shots across the field and reeled in. That is, I think, Hébert with the goal, and that is, I believe, 1-1.
Yes, a point very much mirroring the last point of the game where the offense gets turned, gets the disc back, and on the second time of asking, puts it in. YAKA there were able, on the second attempt, to really slice through that 3SB cup with a few passes through the gap. I'm sure that's not what 3SB were really hoping for earlier on in the point. They were making them swing and throw a lot of low releases, but YAKA getting more integrated, really feeling their way into the game, started being able to slice through it, and it was a nice shot through to Paula Bass, and she throws it long for a goal in the end zone. 1-1.
Indeed. And I do wonder on the next next defensive point was the 3SB are going to stick with that zone and try and make some adjustments to cut out on those cross-field swings, or maybe transition to match.
And I guess this is also then the importance of the numbers, man of numbers you have. 3SB might continue running the zone to just help save their legs, because a lot of players will be playing both offense and defense.
So we've got 3SB launching one deep, but intercepted by Delaval. We've got Thyssen on disc, looking long, but fakes it off. The 3SB Cup is already there, looking to put pressure on. Delaval across the field, using the width, swinging it really nicely. Delaval once again, high over the top of the cup to Knudsen.
Yeah, there was a reach from the cup about 2 or 3 passes ago, and that just left a gap where YAKA were able to flow through the middle of the pitch, but now it's been able to reset, and once again the zone is pushing YAKA back.
Delaval once again with a shot through the middle to Matthias. Matthias, not a lot of options right in front of her, but oh gosh, okay, that was Maietta, and I think didn't quite realize how close she was to the edge of the pitch. Perhaps we can have a look here, and she is not contesting the call. I think she just didn't quite realize where she was. This pitch, in fact, is marked out for ultimate on AstroTurf, which is not something you see, or well, 3G, not quite AstroTurf, not something you see very often in Europe. So 3SB back in their 3-4, and that is so unfortunate, just bouncing out of the hands of Sarah Toshnarova. And so YAKA gifted the disc right back, looking to move it immediately. Finds Thyssen in the center. Back across. Delaval now. A little bit of a sigh or a shrug, and then hops into the air as the wind pushes her past all the way across the pitch, outside of it, in fact, and 3SB yet another chance.
If you needed a visual demonstration of how swilly it is getting out here, well, ladies and gentlemen, others, you just saw it.
So yet another turn. This is turning into a bit of a marathon point, and YAKA getting it moving. No timeouts called as of yet. So Thyssen on disc. Gets it upfield. I think the 3SB defense lagging a little bit now, but they set their cup up once more. Thyssen looking for a shot through the center. Looks off one, looks off two. Finds Delaval. Delaval breaks through to Dayan. Delaval once again finds Thyssen. Oh, sneaky shot through the middle, knocking on the end zone door, and a quick little give and go from Matthias and Kea Knudsen. Danced it into the end zone, and it's another YAKA score.
Yes, and that makes it YAKA 2-1. There it was, great flow through the middle, just 2 ladies working it down. 3SB, once the zone got unlocked through the middle, they couldn't keep up and they walked it in.
So yes, I think this is going to be a case of which team adjusts to the wind sooner. We know that there are a lot of very strong handlers on both teams, but of course it's a new ground, it's new conditions for them. They're a long way from their home training ground, so we'll see which team is able to adapt the fastest. So we've got the 3SB O-line, once again, YAKA D-line. Can see the trees starting to rustle a bit in the wind. Although on the pitch, the flags aren't fluttering. It's a very odd wind, kind of swirling and gusting. And a big pull from Mondial. I think there's a lot of power behind it, but not that much height, so it will land right around the brick mark. Oh, low throw, kept alive, no down calls there. And YAKA look like they are running a poachy defense set, poaching off the handless.
Yeah, there's Mondio in the lane and then recovering in time to get on the force.
Oh, big shot goes up to a big player. Oh, just, again, it's Volkova, but it looks like there may be a bit of a call. She's motioning to her foot. Perhaps she's saying that the number 6, whose name we don't have, stepped on her foot. But it looks like it's been retracted. Maybe just a bit of discussion.
Yeah, that's twice now 3SB have been able to get flow generated on this near side and a huck from power position, and twice it's been nearly there but not quite. So the 3SB offense is working. We just need that.
We'll walk up to the sideline. There's a deep poach from 3SB. YAKA in there 3-4. All the players starting to creep a little bit closer to the disc, but it pays off for them.
YAKA starting with some great flow moving through the middle of the field. The 3SB zone finally getting set, allowing it to jam up, but YAKA looking very comfortable working through the zone, taking advantage of the flow opportunities when they get the chance, but not being flustered with the disc. We're not looking to generate something.
So Della Valle pointing to where she wanted her dump to go and eventually getting off a slightly wobbly disc. This 3SB Cup is not making life easy. And, gosh, another disc that bounces out of the hands of Maietta. 3SB with a bit of a gift. They are very, very close to their end zone in a slightly more downfield, potentially, situation. Got to put in those downfield points.
And a low release backhand break attempt. It hit the fingers, but it was a bit too spicy to handle. And that might be a golden opportunity down the drain, but we shall see how the defense responds, because they've gotten the turn once before. Can they do it again?
This cup is absolutely vicious, but it looks like there may be a call on the play. This 3SB Cup is just really cutting off a lot of options, especially when the backfield space is limited and you don't really want to be dumping it back when you're on the end zone line. So there'll be a little bit of a discussion. A couple of 3SB players with their hands on their knees here. So we're having a little bit of the miming here, a little bit of amateur dramatics of what the French players of Clara Matias, what she thought happened. A couple of YAKA players on the sideline signaling a turnover, and then looks like we've got Rachel Toshnerova. There we go. It is a turnover. It will stand. So we are right on the end zone line. We've got Shromova picking up the disc. And a simple high release into the end zone. Gobbled up by Toshnerova. And there we go. One pass, one score.
And a hold for the Czech ladies. And it's one to check out for you fans out there.
T, why are you gonna do this?
Who doesn't love a pun? If you don't like my puns, it's all a bit of fun.
You better check yourself before you
better
wreck
check
yourself.
before you wreck yourself. Absolutely.
Oh gosh, do you like our puns? Give us a like if you do. If you don't, give us a dislike. It all helps the algorithm, and nobody can see how many dislikes there are on a YouTube video anymore. So there we go. If you're not subscribed to us already on ulti.tv, do consider doing so, ringing the bell to be notified every time we go live with more ultimate content. If you're a big fan of what we do, you can also check us out on Patreon if you want to sling us a euro, a pound, whatever your local currency is. It really does help us out and helps us to bring you more free ultimate content. I know it feels like a bit of a counterintuitive, us asking you to pay us for something we want to provide for free, but things do cost money, unfortunately.
As the 3SB pool goes up. YAKA coming out with their pool pave. 4 receivers going streaking deep, and the disc goes up. Macline, and a bobble catch one-handed for the goal on the end zone line. Let's see what she can do with it. Number 83 takes the safe option, looks back to Paula Bass.
Paula at the front of the end zone. She's looking choosing to look for a dump, stall count rising, puts an IO through. What an incredible high stall, calm throw to LeBourne, who just, I think, absolutely knew what she wanted. And the YAKA high-pitched, I guess a high-pitched hum as they walk onto the pitch. So that's now 4-3 to the French side. And what incredible calmness under pressure from Paula Bars. We'll see it again here. Just lovely IO into space, perfectly weighted for LeBourne to run onto.
Yeah, I was surprised to see that deep shot go. That's usually a very common pool play we see, where we have a team setting up in 3-4, a lot of the receivers streaking deep, and typically you'll see someone coming across the field laterally using that space that's been generated, and I didn't see any streaking players across. I just thought, oh, okay, this isn't going, and next thing you know, there's a disc flying deep and it's caught, it's smacked, it's bobbled, and it's a saving grace one-handed catch. They all don't have to be pretty, but they all count just the same.
That's very true, that's very true. Doesn't matter what it looks like, so long as it's in your hands in the end zone, it's a point on the board. So 3SB, oh gosh, there was a little bit of, maybe she saw Zen's kind of streaking towards her, and that caused a bit of a lapse in concentration that meant she couldn't keep her hands on the disc. But YAKA with a bit of a gift here on the, or a couple of meters rather, away from the end zone. D-line looking in, and it's Thyssen. Oh, not quite into the end zone. You've got Zen's there, she's looking, finds Kea in a dump. Kea looking deep, or not looking deep, looking into the end zone. High release. Oh, is it kept up? It is not too far out in front of Della Valle, though. A valiant effort for the goal. So 3SB with another chance, walking a little bit slowly towards the disc as Toshinarova, just allowing her team time to set up.
I think all the 3SB fans out there just wiping their brow of sweat. Another red zone turnover. Thankfully it wasn't converted, still keeping them within 2 of this game, but twice now they've turned over in that red zone, one of the most crucial places to be able to turn over, and we shall see now that they have a second bite of the apple on offense what they're going to do with it. I think they just had a check with the disc, and straight away Rachel Toshinarova just bangs it deep, nearly gets a bid on it, flew over the head, but now with one pass, 3SB are in the attacking zone, and again, just floating, and it's just no one attacking the disc except for the YAKA red, so it is indeed another turnover, and we shall see what they do with it. Yeah,
so we've got Della Valle, there aren't any 3SB players near her, it does look like they're matching up, and another disc goes up. It's headed for Kaya. Can she field it? It's perfectly weighted. She throws it up into the air and slaps it down. It looks like YAKA are starting to put their foot on the accelerator and move away from 3SB. They are looking fierce. They are looking strong. They're taking advantage of their deep game, and 3SB are looking a little bit tired.
Despite Toshinarova's best efforts to throw 3SB back into this game, YAKA's talent, YAKA's depth currently proving a bit too much for the Czech ladies. A timeout has been called. Let's see if they can use this time to check themselves and get back, maybe change of mentality, maybe just a break in the game, maybe a tactical adjustment, who knows, but right now they need to do something to get back into it, or it might just be one of those situations where you come up against a really great team, really great opponent, and they do what they do, score goals and generate turnovers.
Yeah, I mean, you also have to remember that this is the best women's team in Europe as of October last year, and 3SB are playing with 14 players / 15 players in the hot sun. You know, against any team that's difficult, but against the reigning champions, that is a really, really tough ask. And I think they have been doing really, really well. They have been putting up some great shots. Their defense has been really good, but at a certain point, a whole extra line is not really something that you can necessarily just find an answer for.
Absolutely, I completely agree with you there. Maybe something to see that would focus on would be just execution. Their tactics seem to be working. This 3SB zone really stifling YAKA at moments. Seen many times. YAKA on offense would get 2 or 3 passes in flow, and then that zone would set again and push them back, generating a few turnovers. And they've been getting into power position and getting hucks. A lot of the turnovers have been on passes getting into the end zone or just close. So they're right there, you know.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. It's some really, really fantastic ultimate that we're seeing here from both sides. But I think YAKA just with the edge at the moment. They are 3 points ahead. Their D-line coming out. We've got Bars with the disc. Winds up to the pull. It's going to land at about the brick mark.
YAKA coming out with a zone of their own. Looks like 4 players in it, but immediately first pass goes over the top and a foul. Just ran through the back of her as if she didn't exist, immediately uncontested. And we're going to get back to the action. Yeah,
I think Becca just trying to get to the disc no matter what was in her way. Hell or high water, or a 3SB player not going to stop her getting there. Oh, gosh. Shramova's been putting some really nice discs over the top of this cup, some blades. The wind actually seems to be dying down a bit, which is not in YAKA's favour. She's near the end of the end zone now, and just a cheeky little pop up to Mrazova is a quick score for 3SB.
3SB there giving a textbook example of how to counteract zone offense. The nice high release blading flick twice, just breaking that cup there. Obviously with 4 people in that cup, they're heavily pop committed into stopping that type of throw. And if with that first pass it goes over the top, it generates that flow and gets put in easily. Who knows, maybe that was enough from 3SB to deter YAKA from doing it again, but it's now 6-4 and 3SB still with life in this game.
Yeah, for sure. I would say, I mean, I'm not a coach, but a zone call from YAKA here, it might be that they're thinking, okay, we're a few points up, we've been playing match, we've been playing our poach set, let's, you know, practice our zone, because as a lot of players that I've been speaking to have been saying, you know, this is the first tournament we've played this season, we're just looking to kind of work our systems and practice these things. But, you know, if you've got the legs as YAKA to really tire out 3SB, you know, a zone is, you know, it's a choice, I guess. As was that roly pull, which has now rolled all the way back to quite far inside YAKA's half. 3SB sticking with their cup zone, potentially trying to conserve their energy. And the wind is picking up. It wasn't on the last point, and now it is again. Big fake to try and get through the cup, but YAKA staying on that far end zone line. Della Valle manages to get it off.
And as we've seen so many times before, this 3SB zone really doing a good job of just clogging up options down the lane and making YAKA pass it backwards and backwards. We started with the disc in 3SB territory, and now YAKA are back in their own half and it's still moving backwards.
Oh, that's a lovely find through the middle to Castillo. Sorry, to Hebert. Dumps it back. Meisel on the disc. Meisel finds Zenz. Zenz back to Delaval. YAKA moving it calmly, steadily, patiently. Not trying to rush anything, not trying to force anything. They're very close to the end zone now. Swinging it, trying to find an opening. Thyssen. Just looking around, there's a lot of blue and not a lot of red. They've got 3 handlers out, so 3SB able, but finds, who's that? Hebert in the end zone. Just lovely patience, kept swinging, and then finally an option opened up for them.
YAKA just said, I see your calm zone offense and I raise you calm zone offense. Anything you can do, I can do better.
Yeah, so instead of, it's interesting seeing the different attacking styles. So YAKA preferring, at least in that point, a much more lateral attack, trying to swing the disc round and then get it upfield, whereas 3SB was more, I see you have players in front of me, but I'm going to throw over the top of those players and just work it down in a relatively straight line. So we're here now, it is 7-4 to the French side. 3SB still hanging on. It's not like YAKA are just absolutely running away with this. If YAKA take half, they will be coming out on offense, and that will be a very hard hill for 3SB to climb if this point is a break for YAKA. But I'm getting ahead of myself, we're not there yet. So we'll see what defense YAKA are coming out in and how 3SB deal with it.
One of the great things about sports, anything is possible.
We do love that. We do love that. Okay, so 3SB in their 3-4, and it looks like YAKA are giving their zone another crack.
And it's looking like a different zone this time. Previous zone, more cup orientated. Here it looks like they've got 3 flat on the mark. 3SB go for an overhead to try and break it, but it's, as the wind picks up, it just flusters too far. 3SB are attacking downwind, so it just got pushed a little bit over.
Yeah, I think Toshnerova thought that she was going to be able to get a hand on it, and then it just kind of went a little bit too far.
With a low pickup there in the backfield, I think they're going to have a conversation about it.
Yeah, it looks like Paula Barr's there. Interestingly, she's not involved. She doesn't look like she's saying anything. Maybe she's hearing out the 3SB player. I don't know if we'll have a replay of it, but it certainly did look like it was very close to the turf here.
Perhaps contested, because the disc is going back. So contested up call, and disc is now back in play with YAKA on offense. And I see some hands up. Typical violation. People moving too quickly after a stoppage.
Yes, I think should have closed fists for a violation, but yes, we got the gist. So YAKA continuing to march upfield. Oh, but it bobbles out of the hands of Van Wyk. So 3SB picking it up, getting it moving. We've got Sarah Toshnerova, swings to Shromova on the far end zone line. Oh, and again, this wind is making what should be easy so much harder. Dvorakova unable to hang on to it, so Paula Bars picks up the disc, throws a cheeky scuba to Mondio, who gives a little nod of the head. I think she wanted a deep cut there, but none is forthcoming, so she has to opt instead for her trademark across the pitch swing. Catches in power position, big fake through the middle.
The big fake opens up that through the middle as well. Pops up, but Paula Bas cool, calm and collectedly brings it back in.
Cool, calm, collected collection. Looking for Mondio. Mondio running around. Slightly curving dump cut there. Defense not able to keep up. Back to Bars. Big scooping fake. Oh gosh, bit of a bump from 3SB, but doesn't phase Mondio. Gets it back up to Becca. To Mondio. Becca immediately looks to try and get into another position to get it again. Mondio finds Bars instead. Oh, a shot through the middle of the cup.
What a great catch, really putting her body on the line there to keep possession alive.
But under conservation of greatness, it's just not quite where Mondio was. So 3SB, again, immediately picking it up. Not giving themselves much time to breathe. It's Jana Shromova on the disc. That's going to be low, but it's going to stay high enough. She's got a big one. She unleashes, but that downwind downwind throw is going to be too far for Toshnerova, who sort of sticks out her hand as if to say, come on, come on. We've been running for so long now, we are tired.
Yes, these 3SB women really not trigger shy at all.
So let's see if they have enough left in the tank to stick with the impressive defense they've been putting on for us so far. Mondio, oh wow, gosh. Foul immediately called, but I'm not sure. Looks like she ran into the 3SB player, so we'll see that again here. 3SB player looked like she, you know, had her own line.
Yeah, from my perspective, I think there was quite a leading pass from Mondio, leading her receiver into where there was already a player waiting. And of course, if you're just eyes on the disc, you're running and not aware that there's someone there. Can understand why the foul call was made there, but from my perspective, I thought the 3SB player was there and just sticking the hand out for, you know, when the disc is up in the air, it's fair game.
I think, you know, it's in terms of contact avoidance, it's always tricky because the YAKA player wasn't looking where she was going, and so it's your responsibility as a defender to try and avoid contact if someone is, you know, running towards you, right? But at the same time, you also need to be aware if you're running somewhere that you might be running into someone. So it's dual responsibility here. I'm not sure. It looks like a YAKA player is signaling an uncontested foul, but I don't know if the 3SB player has actually contested that. There's been uncontested and contested hand signals, but the disc does look like it may be staying with Andrea Zenz. So I guess it must have been, oh sorry, that's Olivier. So there we go.
Came to a resolution
Yeah.
in the end, and as long as both teams are happy, it stands, and that's the beauty of a self-refereed sport, I guess.
So 3SB sticking with their cup. They're probably glad of the little break. So we've got Mondio, of course, such a key handler for this side. Oh, she almost threw a little offhand there, but opted for the on-hand. Oh, gosh, a little bit of contact here. Baz has an open option.
Yeah, this game's getting quite physical here.
So Becca looking for an option, but 3SB taking away a lot. Their only option is backwards. Mondio swings to Lebas.
And gets that mark moving with the fake and puts it right behind her. Disc swings back more centrally to Mondio.
Well kept in by LeBon. The wind is still doing its thing. It's still making these discs hard to catch and to throw. Got Baz to Mondio. Mondio looking around. You can tell she wants to throw it upfield. Nice little pop. Oh, there it is. Lovely, right in between the two cup players there. Got Lebas, Mondio. Nice shot through the middle once again. And nobody there with Elise Becker. She takes that disc and puts an end to this mammoth point with many turns.
Yeah, the zone so effective at moving YAKA back at points, but when you have players of the caliber of Paula Bass, you can low release straight through that middle. That's the type of pass that really unlocks and breaks open that puzzle that is the 3SB zone, and that pass goes through and it's bing, bang, bong, goal.
Yeah, and that is half time. So YAKA, as I prophesized at the start of this point, have taken half. They will be coming out on offense with a looking to make it 9-4 to 3SB, who I mean this not in a bad way. They do look tired. You know, of course these are elite players. They are athletic. They are fit. When you only have two lines, it's unavoidable that you're going to get tired.
And only having two lines against the European champs, you know,
Yeah.
the odds makers probably wouldn't have them as favourites.
No, unfortunately. I mean, anything can happen, but I think at the moment, you know, they're still in this, they're still fighting, and despite YAKA getting those shots through the centre of the cup, you know, this was the 3rd or 4th minute of that point, and those shots weren't going through at the start of the point. It's just that, you know, that burn in your lungs, and that makes you, it makes it harder for you to react to things and harder to, you know, cut off that space in the cup.
Absolutely, and as it is half-time there, we shall join you for the second half in about 5 minutes.
The ultimate things in life are free, and we're keeping it that way. Subscribe to keep up with the latest games, tournaments, and community content. Share it with your team and friends, and drop a like to help spread Ultimate to more people. Spread the word, spread the love. Ultimate.tv.
Welcome back to the second half of this women's round-robin game here in sunny Bologna, where we have YAKA from Noisy-le-Sec taking on 3SB from the Czech Republic. YAKA started the game off on defense, so here they are on O. They are currently up on 3SB by 4 points, as we see Aline Mondion put a beautiful throw up to Thyssen, who dumps it back to Paula Bars, looking upfield, transitioning into a vertical stack. Gets the swing across. Matthias looking for an upfield option, doesn't have one. But swings across and a low release, but she was, dare I say, suspiciously free. And there is a pick call, so it will be going back. Wow, that was a good catch. That was amazing.
And so casual as well. She just climbs the tower to pick it up and carries on as if nothing had happened at all.
Oh my god, she didn't even look. It was behind her. Wow. Okay. Elite levels. Right. Le Bon gets the swing off, and a lovely round to Mondion, who fakes off Labaz to Thyssen, and Thyssen just into the floor. There is the wind, so I think that pushed it in, and she released it from quite high. So 3SB's D-line with a chance to open the second half with a break. Oh, but it's going to bounce off the hands of Tisha and snaffled up by a defender. Big floaty pass to Thyssen, attacks it well. Knocking on the door of the end zone, looking low. Oh, but it's too far in front of Mondial. That's Thyssen's second end zone shot this point and second turnover. So we'll see 3SB once again set up their offense.
Yep, 3SB here coming out in a vert stack. Number 24 there, isolated on that left-hand side. No second receiver, so it's a 1-6 vert stack here. Not something you see too often. YAKA looking like it's matched with some poachers in the lane like they've been playing previously. And the disc was flowing towards this near sideline, and the wave just crashed out of bounds. So we've got the Parisians starting in the attacking half on the sideline with Mondial. Moving the force, throws it up. Not sure quite what she saw. Hands out to the side like, that wasn't what I wanted, and the apology.
Yeah, I think that the throw that led to the previous turn just had a little bit too much IO on it, which meant that the wind kind of shoved it out to the pitch, really. So neither team's able to get out of this left side half at the moment. A little bit of a struggle.
3SB starting in what is affectionately known as Coffin Corner, swilly side of the wind. Doing well to get it off that side, and an interception from number 19. She's flowing down that side. Big sweeping pass across and reeled in quickly and calmly there for another YAKA score, making it 9-4.
9-4 here, so a 5-point difference. The wind is really gusting now. It's no longer a breeze. It is whatever the next level up of a breeze is. So we'll see that interception here from Maietta, who immediately off to Thyssen, back to Maietta. I think Thyssen was looking for the score then, but lovely floaty pass, and it's way too high for Christina Tluster. Just didn't even have a shot at it. So YAKA extending their lead slowly but surely.
And I can really sense from the energy levels of the 3SB players walking back on the line, walking off the sideline. It's quite feeling a bit of dejection. Obviously, a game's never over until the final whistle, as they say. But 3SB really, after that one, heads dropping slightly.
It might even, you know, you would have thought that during the halftime, that was something that was said, you know, we're here to learn, we're here to build chemistry, you know, even if we lose, we want to try and remain, you know, positive, because you can't win them all, and you have to try and keep your head in it, not let it drop too low. They're certainly still fighting though. Oh gosh, and just clutching her side is, we've got two 27s on our list here. I'm not sure which one this is, but I think a little bit of discussion with Thyssen. Uncontested foul coming in on 0. Oh, that's Dvorokova on the disc. That one looks a lot like a 7. Teams, why do you do this? Big floaty disc. There's 5 or 6 players underneath it. Several go up. Oh, but it just like was hit the outstretched palm of Rasha Tosnerova. So YAKA once again on the pitch. Strong crosswind that they're having to deal with now. And they are inside their end zone. Now they're out of it.
I think that was a fingertip there. Put that as a block on the stats sheet. 3SB now coming out in the end zone. Still stuck on this near sideline, but a fantastic opportunity.
Yeah, I think Kaya Knudsen kind of indicating a point on the field, but the 3SB player deciding no, it didn't quite go out there. Oh, that's a great find. So knocking on the door is Mrazova.
But this YAKA defense is still working. 3SB on the goal line.
Oh, Shramova tries to throw open Tlusta, but unfortunately the wind just pushing it down onto the floor. It's this half that's just really hard for teams to get out of, I think. Even though this is technically, I believe, it's not a straight upwind downwind, but this is more an upwind point, and yet the downwind end zone is very empty at the moment. So little inside shot to Dabal. Oh, who puts it too far out in front of Hebert. That's a big shot.
The game's getting quite sloppy at this moment. I think it's really calling out for a team to grab it by the scruff of the neck. Both teams kind of lackadaisically just picking it up, throwing it turn after turn, trying to throw receivers open, leading them too far. You can see who really tightens up first, and if it's 3SB, this might be a window for them to get back in this game. I believe there has been a call on that last throw, so 3SB will have another chance to redo that one over. Stall coming in on 3.
So Shramova with a second chance. Oh, that's an IO shot to Toshnarova, who puts it too high. Is there going to be backup? There is, but from the wrong team. Thyssen not even bringing it to the front of the end zone, just gets it moving quickly, a little bit too quickly, just a little bit of haste. Rushing in, Matthias can't reel it in. 3SB, big high release, upwind, it's dicey. Is it a score? It is, but you can see that 3SB, there's no celebration. They're just walking up back to their end zone line. Gosh.
I believe that's more jubilation from the point being over than celebration from the score. YAKA walking back with their big chance, as you see hands on hips and bodies on knees from the 3SB players after that one.
Yeah, you would have thought that YAKA had just scored. They just celebrated, they did their E thing, whereas 3SB, you know, dead quiet. So in terms of the mental game, I think YAKA has already won it. And indeed, they may, looking at the fact that we are over an hour into this game. We've got 20 minutes till cap, and they are 4 points ahead, about to come out on offense. They may win the actual game as well soon, but never say never for 3SB. Anything and everything still yet to happen. It's getting a bit cold now with this wind.
Especially for us being underneath in the tent. I'm sure those out in the sun playing,
Yes.
it's probably quite warm.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. We are in the shade. It would be a different story if we didn't have this nice tent provided for us by the organisers. So YAKA's O-line, and a huge D, huge from Dvorakova, batting the disc out of bounds. There is still fire in this 3SB defense.
She says we may be down, but we are certainly not out of this just yet. And now 3SB coming out once again with their 1-6 vert stack, isolating a cutter at the front of that stack. She's working hard, unfortunately unable to reel it in. So now YAKA back again on offense with a second chance for a hold and really a chance to put their foot on the necks of 3SB. Paula Bass to Mondio, Mondio to the end zone, goal. 10-5 YAKA.
Yeah, I think YAKA maybe, I don't want to say complacent because that's a bit too far, but maybe YAKA getting a little bit comfortable there. 3SB saying absolutely not. We are still going to make you work for this. You are still going to have to put in the effort. And there was some brilliant movement from Mondio there to get open, and then we'll see her just sitting into it, able to get that score off. So, as you said, T, 10-5, 5 points in it, and the wind is not letting up.
Yeah, that Bass-Mondio connection proving lethal as always. Absolutely incredible talent on display.
Yeah, and you know, we've been saying, oh, 3SB, legs, etc. But Baz and Mondio, I think, have been playing every other point as well. So, you know, they've certainly got the stamina for it.
As get the next point started away. Nice deep floating pull. SB coming out in their 3-4. This time shot goes up. It's unfortunately quite short. It is going upwind, so quite a difficult shot to make. Not an impossible one, but the wind here certainly doesn't make it any easier, and it might just be fatigue from so many points affecting decision making, affecting execution. Or maybe it's just a D-line dog saying, this offensive business, no, I want to play more zone and generate more blocks and turns.
Well, yeah, could be. Maybe a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
And a fantastic
wow.
saving bid splayed out there like a bedsheet on the bed on top. This goes up, it's bobbled, and maybe one great bid to keep it alive, and the second was a bit too much to ask for.
Yeah, we had a lot of bobbles there. What an interception, and YAKA back on it, and a hand block!
Number 8 is saying no, not today.
Sarah Toshnarova is having absolutely none of it. So we've got Yana Shromova shooting long to the end zone. It's still up.
A Mac and then the block.
So Rasha Toshnarova denied another point. She's already scored several this game. Big floaty shot going up, but not to anybody except for Falkova's foot as she stops it in its tracks. So Shromova picking up again as she has done so many times this game. And another interception from Clara Matias, who just bats it to the floor, carries on running to set up. And we've got Delaval picking up 3SB's cups in the way. She fakes, but that one does not go through the cup as many had before, but is swatted to the floor. So 3SB once again. But this is just a game where neither team, or a point rather, where neither team wants to throw it to each other. They just want to throw it to the other team. So that is going to sail out of bounds. At least it's not to an opposing team member this time. But that is another turnover in this point. I'm losing track now, T. Is that 3, 4 turnovers?
9, 15, 32. How many do you want? I do not know. This point really becoming a defensive slog. Maybe the offense is not quite clicking, but each team still working hard on defense, getting those blocks, getting those interceptions, and each offense still, you know, still shooting it, not being deterred, saying, I see you, and it goes up again, a big hug, and we've got a streaking 3SB player, unfortunately not able to reel it down, and a quick pickup. Is it going to be another huck? She saw it, but didn't quite go for it, and just a miscommunication, and a huck again, upwind. It's crazy up in here. It is crazy.
I think we've had a lot of turns that have been in this game that have been generated by the defense, but I think in this point it's been more turns generated by the offense.
And the defense there getting a touch on it, chases it down, unfortunately able to read in the block. So YAKA stay with possession. Disc goes up again, it's floating, but there she is, number 0, able to bring it down, cross-field sweeping flick, and unfortunately with the wind, it's moving up and down like a UFO, and it just flows away off on another adventure, unfortunately not being able to be reeled in by the Parisians.
At this point T is going on. I feel like it's forever. Did we have a life before this point? I don't know. It's just, it's never ending. So we have 3SB picking it up, walking it to the front of the end zone. It is once again Shromova with the disc, KO on the force. And as unfortunately has happened several times at this point already, Toshnarova, well not her specifically, but Toshnarova unable to hang on to the disc as the wind gives it that little bit of extra zip. So we've got Delaval upfield to Mondio. That's not Mondio, sorry. Dumping back to Meisel. Meisel puts up a floaty one.
What a defensive play there, backtracking that disc and just leaning back and getting a touch to it to prevent what would otherwise be a certain goal.
So we won't see that again, but she was falling over backwards and still managed to get a D on it. So we've got Shromova on the disc once again, puts up a high one. Snaffled by Toshnarova. It's a big one, but these upwind hucks, 3SB not finding a lot of joy with them. It's just so hard to put the amount of power needed to get it the distance. And a timeout called, finally, by Delaval, and 3SB look quite tired. YAKA look quite tired. This has been a marathon point.
I think that's a good move by YAKA to just take some time to say, okay ladies, we've turned it over quite a lot, let's get recentered within ourselves as a team and see this game off.
Yeah, just a little bit of refocusing, a little bit of water, maybe trying to set up some kind of set play so we can just, you know, bish bash bosh, get it in, because at the moment there's just a lot of unfocused kind of errors, a lot of unfocused throws. Just a second, you can see there Felix Nemec talking to his team. He is one of the 2 coaches that they have this year. So last year they had 1 coach, this year they've brought on another one just to kind of have a second pair of eyes, bring some new perspectives to the team. And it's always helpful to have as many non-playing coaches as you can. It's very hard having to coach / captain and play at the same time. A lot to cover mentally.
Yes, and on that point, it's what the sport needs to develop. And on the note of developing the sport, I would be remiss if I didn't take the opportunity to ask if you are able to support any financially, anything to help us on Patreon here. Our aim and mission is to bring free ultimate coverage, but it does cost, and with more resources we can make each production even better, more cameras, more streams. As you'll know, we had some technical difficulties this morning. Some more funding would help alleviate some of those in the future, but it's whatever you can. You know, the ultimate objective is to make the sport as big as possible. It's got some fantastic values, a lot of talent on display worth bringing to you. So please, ulti.tv on Patreon, and if you can't, give us a follow, give us a like on the YouTube. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers by the end of the weekend. So Ulti TV on YouTube, all ultimate, all everything.
Yeah. Yep, so we are only bringing you one field from this tournament, but as T said, the more funding we get, the more streams we can bring you. So just this pitch all weekend.
Now we're back in the action. YAKA coming out after that turnover, after the timeout rather. 3SB. Sorry, you go on for
Thank you. 3SB sticking with their cup zone that's been proving so effective at putting pressure on this French side, making them swing the disc or pop little passes up, which in this wind is not always certain that they will come off. But Zen's managing to find upfield passes. Matthias currently on disc, looking backwards. Zen's once more. Finds number 84. Oh, shot through the middle. That's very nice. And that is Dayan. Looking backwards. Not a lot of options backwards or forwards. But finds Delaval. Delaval taking stock. So it looks like 3SB are now peeling off one defender to even mark out that dump behind. Swing to the other side. Very close to the end zone now. Maietta all the way to the other side of the pitch. We've got Dayan once again. Dayan
nice
to Zen.
move there.
Number 84. Oh, she's licking, but not quite certain of it. So Zen's once again. It's just a little game of back and forth at the moment. Zen's to Delaval. Delaval sweeps across to the other side. That's some more beautiful patience from YAKA. It is now 11-5.
Yeah, and after that timeout, clearly whatever they said in their circle was effective. They came out cool and calm and collected, and they worked it through. No more big shots into wind, into coverage, leading to turnovers, back to just playing their good frisbee, and it led to a goal.
We've seen some really beautiful end zone patience from YAKA. They are just happy to swing it and swing it and swing it until an opportunity arises for them to strike. And of course we would expect nothing less from a team of this caliber. Just want to shout out Cecile, number 21 on the YAKA side, who unfortunately was not able to make it this weekend as she is out with COVID, as quite a few teams have had players out with the virus. So I hope you're watching, Cecile. I hope that you're enjoying seeing your teammates on the stream. And I hope you feel better soon. That's a very gentle spike that we saw. Right, so 3SB's O-line looking to score. Still in a fairly fluid 3-4 setup. Got Toshnarova, shot through the middle, brought down by her sister, Sarah. Torakova, Shromova, high release to Toshnarova. This is beautiful flow from 3SB.
Oh, and the lefty backhand once again from Rachel Toshnarova. We saw it earlier on in the game on the goal line for a goal, and it's brought out once again. It was beautiful work from 3SB using their handlers, the cutters just flowing deep, giving that 3 or 4 handlers space just to work it up the line, up the line, up the line, slicing, dicing, and a little bit of flair to finish it off the point nicely. That is the type of offense I think has been working really well for 3SB. So if they could stick to that type of stuff, maybe not in this game, but maybe for the weekend they can use that and build upon it to build a really formidable offense, because they already have a solid defense which has stifled the defending European champions multiple times in this game already.
Yeah, that's a 3SB that I absolutely want to see more of. That point was so fluid, so precise, so clinical. You know, the defense didn't even get a sniff on any of those passes. So if 3SB can play like that, if their offensive line can play like that for the next couple points, while at the same time their defense is bogging down YAKA's offense, then
we may have a game yet.
I mean, not that this isn't already very exciting, but we can always be more, exciting.
Always rooted for Universe Point. Always, always.
I'm sure there will be plenty of those to come. So a rolling pull from 3SB. This one is not going to turn around and go back to whence it came. So Thyssen receives the first pass.
3SB coming out of their patented zone into a more of a match look. It generates a high floaty pass where there were bodies underneath it. YAKA able to bring it down. Now in the red zone, see what they can do with it.
So we've got Thyssen with a high release backhand, reeled in. So that's been 2 points now where the offense has just very clinically worked against match. We did have that initial overthrow, but it was well backed up by, I believe it was Dayan. So again, both teams just, maybe they've just decided they've had enough of these turn-festy points, and they are making better decisions, playing really, really well. Incredible that, you know, you would almost expect this from the first few points of a game. Not the last few where they've already been playing for, you know, nearly 80 minutes now. So we'll see that high release once again.
Great reach there by number
incredible.
84. You can't teach length, but a fantastic way to grab it and get the goal. And YAKA once again saying, I see your great offensive flow, and anything you can do, I can do better.
Yeah. Yeah, they're really kind of rising to meet each other in terms of quality, or going down. You know, there's sort of been peaks and valleys in this game, but both teams kind of meeting each other. So Mondio, big pull, but the wind is not going to let it get much past the brick mark. YAKA setting up immediately. Got Toshnarova on the near sideline. High inside IO shot, a little bit too high, but eventually caught by a blue shirt. Dumps it back to Toshnarova. She's looking towards the end zone now. Laser focused. Throw to her sister Sarah. Back to Rachel. And looks like there's a pick called. Little bit of flexing from YAKA. So Toshnarova directing traffic. She wants that high release. She gets it, and what a layout. And she stands up, cool as you please, dumps it, another layout! 3SB not making it easy for themselves, but certainly making it exciting for us. And then, sadly, just too far for Stromova, or rather falling too far, too fast. So YAKA now in their own end zone, properly in their own end zone.
This disc is moving about all over the place, really having to concentrate to get a read on it.
A little bit of fear in Paula Basta's eyes as that one started moving past her very quickly, but that was a safe pair of hands. She was able to clear out. Back to Mondio, who receives it in power position and puts up an inside-out shot that is going to float and float and float out of bounds.
So now we have 3SB with another chance, another bite at the apple, if you will.
So they're going downwind now. We'll see if we've got some big shots of their own to match YAKA's. Toshnarova. There we go. I manifested it. Ah, didn't manifest that. So they tried. It was a lovely shot, but I think, you know, it's coming in hot. It's coming in high, too far for Dvorakova. So YAKA, once again, the whole pitch to work up. Mondio and Le Bon working together. Oh, little jump in the middle of the pitch from Olivier.
YAKA flowing very well through the middle. As with zones, you're able to get one pass through the middle. 3 or 4 passes in quick successions usually tend to follow. But 3SB now reset back with the zone in their own third of the pitch, but sticking with it. YAKA with 3 players in and around the handler space. Mondio floating. She's looking like she's trying to get on disc. Good sign, good option. Good things usually happens when she's on the disc, such as that sweeping pass across the pitch.
Yeah, as a rule. Well, as a rule, but that's an exception to that rule. Just a bit of a high release, and the wind was pushing that back. It looked like she went to catch it again, but of course there had not been another player to touch it, so it would have been a turnover, even if she had caught it.
Yeah,
so
just a bit lackadaisical there, as you can see on the stream.
it's big. Is that a score? No, she's right outside the end zone looking for options. Oh my gosh, that's so sad. Oh, just looked like it was Toshnarova not able to, I mean, she had no one on her, but it would look like it was a little bit wobbly from Shromova. So YAKA once again on offense. Paula Baz swings across to Mondio. Again, I feel like this point is just going and going and going, and neither team just wants to score.
Yeah, and 27 of 3SB currently on the sideline, running up after that turnover with a dejected sigh of saying this is painful, really expressing how maybe she's feeling.
Yeah, so I think we've got a down call from one 3SB player, but there's another 3SB player who potentially had a little bit better perspective who is calling it up. So since there was a stoppage, it will go back to Mondial, but YAKA will retain possession. She taps it in, swings across. Oh, another low one. Mondial again, and this one's a little bit higher, but oof, that was snagged. Looked like it was almost about to hit the floor, but Paula Bass able to keep it alive. Lots of swinging from YAKA, but not a lot of upfield movement yet. The cup is very much in the way. Able to break through, but it's still on the sideline. Dumps back, swing across. Mondial looking around. Finds Lebas. Lebas to Becker, and now YAKA moving it more quickly. Breaking through that zone. They've only got one in the end zone. Oh wow, just bobbled off the fingers, and then before you can blink, swatted to the ground by 3SB. And that's just the story of this match, isn't it? So many drops, the wind just making what should be easy that much harder. YAKA moving it once again. Using that space in the cup that's being given to them. And then just a couple of steps here and there. Round to Baz on the sideline. She's got Olivia deep and chooses to hit her.
What a shot from Paula Bass right there. That was an upwind flick huck into the swilly part of the pitch, and it just dropped in like a crane dropping in a child down the chimney. Perfect precision, and there is YAKA with another score. That's the YAKA I see. Paula Bass with a beautiful pickup, real pivotal in that point, dealing with the wind, and that's why you have quality on your team. This is how YAKA have been able to become, well, the best team in Europe, defending champions. You know, maybe not a lot of players would have been able to make that pickup to retain possession. Certainly not be able to make that same third upwind throw and make it so easily receivable for the goal. That is truly incredible stuff there.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And that, I think, is now going to be game to 14, because we were well into the 80 minutes by the time that point was scored. So next, if YAKA score this next one, it will be all over. Or we could have 8 points on the bounce from CSB, which would be absolutely incredible were it to happen. Well, let's see if they can put this in cleanly. We have seen some beautiful flow from both teams. We know that 3SB are capable of slotting in clinical offenses. We've got Shromova on the pitch, or on the disc even. I mean, she is also on the pitch. Lovely grab from Toshnarova. Swings to the middle. to
3SB
cluster.
coming out in a very interesting offensive set. They've got Rachel Toshrova very, very deep, disconnected from the rest of the crew, maybe giving them more space to work as a 6v6 as opposed to a 7v7. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite work out as a turnover, but 3SB with a real deep playbook.
It could have worked, you know, you could see how it was working, but it did also look like it was cutting off the deep space. I mean, upwind, maybe that deep space is not necessarily the most useful, so it's there to just kind of give the other players a bit more space, a little bit more room to work with. But we've got YAKA looking quite static, not a lot of movement, forced to dump it back. And straight into Shromova's hands, who dished it off, then gets it back in the end zone. Or not in the end zone, rather, and
tries to squeeze it through a gap, and the gap was too small, unfortunately, and it is a turnover. So 3SB back on defense here.
a little bit of a poach there, punished. Cup getting back into position. Dvorakova has been doing some absolutely incredible stuff. I think she's been forcing pretty much all game, and she's still going for it.
Working in tandem with Toshnarova there as well.
So 3SB still managing to put pressure, not making things easy for YAKA. Who start to move it a little bit faster. Cup trying to catch up, which they eventually do. YAKA looking backwards, but no real easy options. Thyssen on the sideline, floaty little lead pass to Kea. Zenz, Thyssen looking around, dumps back to Maietta on that far sideline now, knocking on the door. This will be game for YAKA if they put it in. Swings back to Maietta on the other side. Oh, licks off that pass. That could well have been it. But YAKA's patience is paying off. They still have the disc.
Still moving.
Still going. Put us out of our misery, YAKA. Let's go. Go on, Thyssen. There it is. And that is, I believe, the game.
14-6 to YAKA is how it ends here at Bologna Invite. A fantastic game, as you said, with some peaks and some valleys, some big questionable shots coming off, some great flowing movement, lots of different offensive and defensive looks. Really anything you'd want in a game displayed there by these wonderful teams.
And credit to both of these teams for battling it out in what were very difficult windy conditions. So we've got another game coming up for you very shortly. I think it's the open...
It is indeed the open division, and this one maybe a lot of political history to it. It's the boys from England, Clapham, versus the boys from Ireland, Ranelagh. So we've got the current defending Open champions, champions upon champions here at Bologna Invite. It's called Elite Invite for a reason. It's only the best in Europe here, so you must stick around to watch that.
Yeah, so we will be taking a short break, but we'll be back very soon to bring you more Ultimate content. So for Team Ombo, I've been Ali Thomas. See you very soon.
TV.